Hi, this is Joe here with another movie review, and this movie is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, and it's the movie Bull Durham, starring Kevin Costner, Susan Sarandon, Tim Robbins. And before I get into the actual movie, this movie, for some reason, ESPN picked as the greatest sports movie of all time back in 2003. And I think I know, and people says, oh, how come this movie over certain sports classics like Fire the Yankees or The Natural, or another review I did already, A League of Their Own, or Slapshot, the Paul Newman hockey film, Rudy, or New Rock New America. This movie surpassed all of them on the ESPN list, and I think I know why. Because the year that ESPN made their list in 2003, we were going to war again with Iraq, or the war had just started, and the two, other than Kevin Costner, the other two big stars of the film, Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon, who they had hooked up in real life through their experience on this film, they decided to, the two most outspoken liberal actors in Hollywood, and they were like anti-Bush, anti-war, anti-President Bush says, and anti-war, no blood for oil and all that stuff. And so even Susan Sarandon even came out of the Oscars flashing the peace sign. And she didn't say another word. She didn't bash Bush or anything. And 2003 was the 15th anniversary of the original release of Bull Durham, and the Baseball Hall of Fame was going to have a show or Q&A, something like that, for to honor the film. And Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon was there, along with actor Robert Wall and the director, who is Ron Shelton. The writer and director of the film, Ron Shelton, was going to be there discussing the movie, why it was made, what was the reasons behind it. I think Ron Shelton used to be a minor league player before I got into making movies for a living. And so the Hall of Fame was going to have like a 50th anniversary celebration for it at the time. And the Hall of Fame was worried that Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon were going to use that forum to push the liberal political propaganda. To use that forum to push their liberal political agenda against the war, against President Bush, and everything else. So what the Hall of Fame did was they canceled the event. And I think practically around the same time, or approximately around the same time, ESPN made their list. So, and we all know that ESPN is owned by Disney, which also owns ABC, which is also another liberal political news network. They decided to pick this movie, for the greatest sports film of all time over the other classics I mentioned already, which is kind of a joke because they can name about like 10 movies, so sports films are better than that, better than this one, I should say. And that's what ESPN did. Well, to get to the movie, where the movie actually starts, it's the first of three movies, of three baseball films that Kevin Costner made. And he was really, he came out as a real star of this movie. Well, so Sarandon really did, because this was her breakthrough role. She did other movies before, like The Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I think was her first movie. But this was really her breakout. Became an international movie star because of this movie. And as well as Tim Robbins, because they hooked up in real life, like I said earlier. And Kevin Costner plays a veteran catcher, like Crash Davis, who was stuck in the minor leagues for 12 years, and he gets signed. Well, you really don't know who the big club is. Well, the big club, the Durham Bulls, is an actual baseball team. It's one of the more popular minor league teams, in baseball. And at the time that this movie was made, there was a AA farm team of the Atlanta Braves. And now they're the AAA farm team of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Even though they're not called, took the name Devil out, they still consider them the Devil Rays. And so anyway, they're supposed to be an E League. Maybe like the high A League or something. Because they played 142 games. But this movie is really from the point of view of Susan Sarandon's character, who is a floozy. When we were floozy, because she keeps sleeping with ball players. Every year she sleeps with one different ball player like every year. And she even brags about not only sleeping with ball players, but every time when a ball player has sex with her, they have the best year of their careers. And that's, one of the real problems I have with this movie is because they talk about being laid all the time. And this is like the horniest baseball team, in a baseball film. Because all the players, except for maybe Kevin Costner, really, and maybe another player, Jimmy, is always with the Bible, doing prayer, prayer meetings and all that stuff before batting practice. And one scene. Everyone else on that team is considered getting laid. Not getting into the major leagues or getting to the next level in the minor league system, but getting laid, getting screwed. I mean, that's what they're concerned about. It's getting laid, they're getting promoted within the system. And that's why Watch Out took the two, and even took the romantic comedy about America's other favorite pastime. So he took baseball and sex and combined it into a comedy. And like I said, Kevin Costner's character, he comes in, he gets having to seem to help nurture Tim Robbins' character, who was a young player, like a 20 and 21-year-old player, even though technically he wasn't. He's older than that in reality. But at the time, he was like a young 20-year-old pitcher, and and he just signed his first professional game that night. And then the night Kevin Costner comes on the team, and the manager says to him, we want you to mature this kid, because we feel that he has the talent to go up to the major leagues to be a great major league pitcher. And we want you to get on his case all the time. Tell what's the best way to get to the major leagues, how to prepare yourself. Kevin Costner says, look, I've been in the minors for 12 years. I don't need this garbage. I need to mature this kid. It's your job, it's not my job. He said, yeah, but you're a veteran player, and that's what we want. He says, alright. Reluctantly, he decides to do it. And, then so Savannah's character decides to pick Kevin Costner's character and Tim Robbins as the player that she wants to constantly have sex with. They get friends with. Nowadays, you call them friends with benefits. But at that time, we call them, pretty much an unpaid prostitute, which is practically what Susan Sarandon is in this movie. And she plays like Annie Savoy, who's like the unofficial trainer of these guys, because she constantly has sex with players. Another woman who was the other woman in this movie. I think her real name was Jenny Robertson, I think, but in the movie she's named Millie, the character. And what really turned me off in this film was the constant sex. I mean, I don't mind occasional love scene or everything, legit love scene, and not just for just throwing it in there, just for the sake of having a love scene in there. But in this movie, you constantly have sex scenes in this movie, and in the first 5 minutes of the film, the man is going, "Oh, where's the loose? Where is Tim Robbins' character? Where is he?" So the manager and the character didn't know. The coach doesn't know where is he. So the manager goes into the clubhouse, and this is in the first 5 minutes of the film, folks. He sees Tim Robbins having sex with Millie in the clubhouse, and you actually see him having sex. And it wasn't implied. Most love scenes, at least the better ones, in movies are ones that are implied. This one was not implied at all. You actually see Tim Robbins doing a Bill Clinton with his pants down, having sex with Millie on like a trainer's table or something. And it was really, graphic for a movie in 1988. It was really a graphic thing. And the manager chose him out for it, and I also chose out Millie. So look, if you do this, if you're in here in the clubhouse here again, I'm going to ban you from staying here. And so Millie says, "Oh, you can't ban me. My father owns the scoreboard." Well, I don't care if he owns the scoreboard or not. If you're in here again, I'm going to be banned. Because it's ridiculous. You're always in here having sex with my players. Get out of here. So that was the first 5 minutes of the movie. They had that scene in there, which is ridiculous. And that's going to be the theme for the whole movie, relating baseball and sex. And that was pretty much the whole. A lot of talk of the movie was like that. And you had teams. You had like this one character, Jimmy, and you might recognize the guy who played Jimmy from the television show Home Improvement. He played Tim Allen's brother, Morty, in Home Improvement. He was in this movie as a Bible touring, like born again Christian guy. And he says, "Oh, why don't we pray after, just before batting practice, when we have a prayer before then?" And one of the players says, "God damn it, Jimmy, just relax and get laid. Forget all the Bible garbage and get yourself laid." And that type of talk and that type of scenes are for the whole movie. Well, the scene where Susan Sarandon does pick Tim Roberts to, sleep with for the whole year. And of course, there's one scene where they were actually in bed, and instead of screaming out, Nuke's name, she screams out "Crash," because she actually wanted Crash, actually. Which naturally she doesn't want for a minute. So she picked Tim Roberts' character out of default, really, in the film. And so she's currently having sex with him. And Kevin Costner says, "Look, the only reason why Annie will want you over me is because she could bully you around. She can't bully me around, so that's why she can't, have her way with me." So Tim Roberts keeps getting annoyed that Kevin Costner's always on his case all the time. And he says, "How do you know how to get?" And there's one particular scene when they're on the bus. Says, on the team bus, they should say. And it says, "How do you know how to get to the majors? You never played in the major leagues. You've been stuck in the minors for for 12 years." And he says, "I was in the major leagues. I was in the show. I was in the show for 21 days once. 21 consecutive days once." And he complains how the minor leagues are and how players are treated in the minors. Like, you don't have your own bags. The major leagues, they hire people to handle your bags for you. You get white balls for batting practice instead of yellow tennis balls, which is pretty much. There was one scene when Kevin Costner and Susan Sarandon in the batting cage saying batting practice, and they used yellow balls instead of the regular traditional, regular minor league baseball. They use yellow balls to save money. And that type of thing. You have great looking women, better looking women than you have in the minor leagues. And then you have the pitches for all these things, breaking balls and sliders and stuff. And Nuke they can't nuke and loose because of nuclear meltdown, because he's always hot, he wants to cool down. And it's like a woman so he can cool himself off. And he says he could be one of those guys. We just don't care. If you want to get to the major leagues, you have to care. You have to care about the sport. You have to care about proving yourself as a player, improving your abilities, so you get forward and get promoted to the majors. And here's what you do. You learn how to throw a good ball. You know how to throw the fastball, and maybe you change up. But you don't have a good breaking ball. You don't have a cool ball. You don't have a slider. So if you want, and then all of a sudden, Luke decides, "Okay, teach me how to throw a breaking ball. Show me how to throw it." So Kevin Costner is teaching him how to do it, and teaching him how to do the interviews and all these cornball lines. And then when the team, the Bulls, decided that they actually went on a big winning streak, And Tim Roberts was convinced that if he doesn't have sex with Susan Sarandon, he will win. And if he loses, if he had sex with her, he'll lose. He was losing for the whole season, and all of a sudden he started having sex with her, and wham, he goes on this big winning streak, and pitching well, and the team was doing well. And Susan Sarandon was getting frustrated because she wasn't having sex with Tim Roberts or anybody else. So Tim Roberts says, "Hey, why don't I?" And says to Kevin Costner in one scene, "I think I came in and have sex with Annie." And Kevin says, "Oh, you're crazy. You're nuts. I mean, if you have sex with her, you might start losing." And then eventually there was a scene where Tim Roberts says, "Hey, if I came into you, we'll start losing." And then if I came into you, I'll start losing again. That's what Kevin Costner told him. And he says, and of course that's what Susan Sarandon chews her out. And the reason why he told him that is because of the fact that, hey, if you want a streak, you have to respect the streak. If you feel that you're playing well because you're getting laid or you're not getting laid, you should respect that. That's true. You should do the same thing all the time to keep the streak going. And as soon as the streak ends, you think something else, lucky, you can say, to improve your streak. And so that's what happened. And as soon as Sarandon admits to Kevin Costner she'd rather have sex with him, and he says, "Forget it." And then, of course, eventually, that Tim Roberts' character eventually does get promoted, but instead of getting promoted to the next level, he goes from A-ball, which is what the Durham Bulls supposed to be in this movie, to Major Leagues. And of course, in reality, that doesn't really happen today. If a player is going to go on A-ball, let's say for the first month or so, month and a half, it constantly does well, gets promoted to maybe Double A. Depends on which A team they're playing for, because you have like 3 A leagues. You have a rookie league now, you have a short season league, then you have a full season A league, then you have a Double A team, and then you have a Triple A team, then majors. So most Major League teams, when they have to progress one level at a time, sometimes you might get lucky. You might have, or if you're good enough, you might get promoted from, let's say, a short season A league to Double A, and skip the long season A. Sometimes, but maybe really today you go from A-ball. You don't even go to A-ball to the major leagues today. In the movie they did that for the fictional, and of course as soon as Tim Roberts' character gets promoted to the major leagues, they release the Crash Davis character, and Kevin Costner does get on another minor league team, and because throughout the movie he was like 20 home runs short of breaking the all-time minor league record. Home run record, and he does break the minor league record, even though Sporting News, which usually does cover the minor leagues more than the major leagues, doesn't mention it. As soon as Sarandon never told anybody, and Kevin Costner was on the verge of breaking the minor league home run record, because he was in the minor leagues for a long time, and there's no real explanation why he was in the minor leagues for so long. And when Tim Roberts tells him, "Hey," and when he gets to the majors, that's got promoted, and Kevin Costner says, "Okay, hope we got a cereal box and all that stuff." And of course, we know that after he does get into the majors, he does use the lines that Kevin Costner told him to say on his interviews. And what happened was, of course, after Kevin Costner hit the home run to break the record, he decided to retire. And he was thinking he was getting an offer to manage a minor league team. So he goes back to Sarandon's house, and she says to him, "Why are you here? I thought you moved on to this other team." And he said, "I retired. I quit." I said, "I hit the home run and I quit." And he says to her, "Look, I'm thinking maybe getting a job, or accepting a job as a minor league manager. What do you think?" I said, "Because I want to know what you think about me possibly making to the major leagues as a manager instead of a player." And she says to him, I think you do great. I think you have a shot at it." and that's how pretty much how the movie ended. But as a baseball movie, the baseball stuff, I think it should have concentrated more on how tough it is to get into the major leagues. And throughout the whole movie, only Tim Roberts' character gets promoted. None of the other players on the team gets promoted. They don't even get promoted to the next level. I mean, it was implied that this is an A league, and so you don't even see any other players get promoted to Double A or even Triple A. Just Tim Roberts' character goes into major leagues, and that's the only player on the whole team that gets promoted. Which, what's the point of having a minor league movie where you don't have guys getting promoted, or new players coming in, from the draft coming in to play on this team? But that's all. Other than all the sex stuff that's in it, all probably saying, "Oh, I want to get laid," or instead of concentrating on improving their abilities to get promoted and probably have a shot at the major leagues, they're more worried about getting laid. And that's the problem that I had with this movie. At first it didn't, when I first saw it, it really didn't bother me. What really bothered me was the constant use of the F word. That bothered me to no end. Because this is the first movie that really hear the F word. First real baseball movie that heard the F word. Not even in the Band Those Bears movies back in the 70s, which they had a lot of cussing. It didn't have a lot of cussing in it, but you didn't hear the F word. Because it was trying to be as kid friendly as possible with all the cussing in it. But this movie had constantly using, constantly, we didn't fuck last night, Instead of saying we didn't have sex last night, Tim Roberts, his first night that he spent at his Brandon's house, he didn't have sex with her, because she was writing poetry all night, and then so the next morning he goes into the clubhouse and he's all tired out, because they figured that he had sex with her all night, and the coach says to him, how was she? Is she as good as they say? He said, no, we didn't have sex. She read poetry all night. He said, no man, we didn't fuck. Excuse my language, but that's why he said, we didn't fuck last night. She read poetry all night. And it's just there's more time in the fucking. I mean, there's a type of language that was used. Excuse my language, please. If kids are watching this thing, please excuse it. And that's what they constantly use the F word in this thing. And either they use two words to describe having sex: laid, or getting laid, or the F word. And the scene is mentioned earlier with Tim, so it's when confronts Kevin Costner saying, "Oh, you're trying to nuke this thing out of my bed and all that stuff." And she says, "No, hey, great. This is one hell of a season. This is the damnedest season I ever saw. The Durham Bulls can't lose, and I can't get laid." Well, going back to, it doesn't my review of the movie, but to get back to the actual technical stuff of the film, this movie was actually filmed in the Durham Bulls stadium at that time. I don't know if that stadium is still in existence. If any of you who's watching this was from the Durham area, please comment down below. Tell me if the stadium that was used in this movie still exists, because I do know that they have a new stadium down there. And for a while, the only thing that didn't actually exist in the stadium that was put in for the film was that bull, the mechanical bull. I don't know about the bull mascot, but I know the bull. That there's one particular scene where the first time that Kevin Costner was catching Tim Roberts in the game, he didn't want to accept the signals. He was shaking him off, and the catcher says, and Kevin Costner says to the hitter, "Here comes the fastball. The fastball's coming," and the batter hits it out, and he hit the ball. That's one thing, over the fence. If he hits the ball, gets a free steak, and smoke is coming out of the bull's nose and everything else, and the tail is moving. there was somebody on the other side of the fence was moving the tail on a lever, and to make the smoke of his nose come out. And that was an on-movie prop. And then, because actually the movie became popular, and they actually kept that bull. And the kids were playing with this bull because they decided to instead of removing it altogether, they said, "Oh, let's bring the bull, this particular bull back as a prop, and we charge kids 25 cents, or whatever, or $1 to play with this bull to make the smoke come out of his nostrils." But like I said, this movie was actually filmed in Durham, Carolina, in the actual Durham Bulls stadium. And I actually do have a Durham Bulls hat, and I was thinking about wearing it for this review because it is an actual hat of the Durham Bulls team. But I do kind of like the movie, but not like what ESPN did, making it the #1 sports film, because it is not the greatest sports movie of all time. It's not. So it's not. I'm not saying it's not a god-awful movie, but it's not good enough, in my opinion, to name it the #1 sports movie. I think it's a joke to name it as the #1 sports film. It's really not. And people say, "Oh, how can you say that?" I can say that because it's true. Because how would you like to see a movie with the constant use of the F word and constant sex scenes in it? To me, if I want to see a movie with sex scenes in it, I see a porno movie. That makes bad sex scenes in this movie. Because this movie is that bad. Because they have all these sex scenes in a baseball movie. Especially a movie that's supposed to be about the minor leagues. It doesn't do it for me. It doesn't do it for me. The thing is, so Savannah was about like 42, 43 years old in this movie. And I know how old Kevin Costner was, so I guess he was about almost 40, or at least in his 30s when he did this movie. And Kevin Costner does not exactly have a great body. So Savannah did, but not him. And anyway, it doesn't register in my eyes to be the greatest baseball movie or greatest sports film. The Natural is, League of Their Own is, Slapshot is. If you want to pick a movie from every sport that's better than this one, The Natural, League of Their Own, Pride the Yankees is up there, in my opinion. Slapshot is the best hockey movie other than the Mighty Ducks. Maybe the Mighty Ducks, the first one. You have Rudy in football, a new All-American for football films. And of course, basketball is the quintessential basketball movie, Hoosiers. Now, those movies are better as a sports film than Bull Durham. Absolutely no question about it. No question about it. This movie is like maybe barely in my top 10. Even baseball movies is barely in my top 10. That's how low I consider Bull Durham, just because of all the sex scenes and because of Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon's political views pretty much ruined this movie for me. But not at first. The first was usually in my top 5. But because of the political views and constantly bashing of former President George Bush, kind of downgrades this movie for me. So I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope you like my review. Please like the video. Comment if you disagree with my opinions on this, or subscribe to my video page on YouTube. Thank you for watching.